I've treated my podcast as a hobby for so long that obviously that's how it's going to be in my external world. It's going to stay a hobby because I'm treating it like a hobby. Same with your relationships. I believe that so many people leave relationships too early simply because they were too scared to ask a question or to pause long enough to listen for the answer without attaching your conditioning or patterns to the response. Presence in the now moment is the only way to get what we desire. And that's the paradox. How do I let go of the future goal until my nervous system feels regulated enough from a post-hustle culture environment? So that's why my content relates deeply to those who have achieved some sort of success, whether it's one dream fulfilled, and now you may be wondering what's next. I had a coffee this morning with an incredible human being. Her book is called Resurface. It's by Cassidy Krug, Krug. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She has become such a dear sister because we met randomly at a Village Well gathering that I was hosting for my company Growth Club, which was a beautiful community in LA for conscious leaders to gather and just like put down the masks and be authentic and get to the heart and soul of another human being without needing to know what we do for work, and also like without any networking, without any like surface level ways that we connect. How do we actually move forward as a society to like truly move the needle on like creating systems, creating companies, creating communities, creating art that inspires human beings to operate or think differently in any way, shape, or form that feels natural and authentic and organic to you and your system? Mirror work is so important. And to me, my journey of making content since Instagram started has always been and always will be just how can I connect authentically? How can I share what's on my heart and soul? How can I just be myself and see who resonates with that and who doesn't? Like that's what it means to have a secure sense of self on this journey of personal growth, spiritual evolution, wanting to better yourself in any way, shape, or form, right? Like whatever path you take, right? Like the self-help industry is part of the problem as well. And if you're somebody who's like, I want more, but I don't know what that more is, then I would ask you to like come into my coaching containers and let's discover what that is, because it's imperative for you to know why you feel the way you do about certain things. So my reaction to the coaching industry before I knew I was going to become a coach could have presented me as somebody out of integrity because my words were not aligning with my actions. So my husband helped me become aware of the moments that I wasn't being a woman of integrity. Like that's what masculine energy gives to a woman. And I think a lot of people know what feminine energy gives to a man, and it's all over the internet of like, if he doesn't value you in your essence, in your energy, in your magic, in your oracle, in your whole divinity, then he doesn't deserve me and my human, right? And I am such a feminist. I'm here for it, I promise. And I also just simply want to give you a slight perspective shift on like what else could it be other than this story? So like that's simply what anxiety is how can I have enough capacity and courage and willpower to break into this other paradigm? Because like it's not about a hierarchy and I'm here and you're not. It's about a level of frequency that I'm operating on that simply makes my life just better. That simply like puts me in alignment with the less shitty path. And it's not that it's a million times better than that. I personally feel like it is because I was so stuck in not knowing what my purpose was, why I'm here, what I'm here to do, and what I'm here to say, right? Like all of those things were things that I had to figure out until I got to this point where I can now invest in myself because I know that this is something that can actually be the ticket to freedom for me and my husband and our empire and our home. And like free him from the shackles of corporate America that he like shares with me, right? Like he feels this way. And I simply am not here trying to change him or fix him, but I'm simply here to give him space to speak his truth and trust that like he's going to figure out his way and I'm going to figure out mine. I have a funny story to share because my dear friend, she actually invited us both to come out dancing. And mind you, she's single, she's younger than me, and she's a dear, dear soul sister who I love so much, but like she activates all of my sister wounds. And it's been really beautiful to be in this container, in this relationship, so that I can heal parts of myself that I probably couldn't before because I took physical space away from my siblings. I am somebody that carries the loss of that and the grief of that every single day with me. And my husband knows that. Right? Like my husband witnessed me through an incredible healing journey. He has been like my steady rock, even though our life externally looked turbulent to others. Living in our own apartments in New York City, moving from New York to LA, moving from LA to Seattle to buy our first home, thinking we're going to stay there for a few years. And then magically in 6 months, my husband getting the best job opportunity that he's ever known. He was so excited. It's so unfortunate when the cookie doesn't crumble the way you expect it to, and how that shows up in a man, especially because men are such beautiful human beings who hide so much of this emotional tension and buildup. And that's why a lot of them can't handle the pressure. And unfortunately, the harsh truth is that we're losing a lot of really good men to mental health issues. And women need to like stop thinking about themselves for 2 seconds and look at things from like a different perspective. Because at this moment, women are too closed off to be able to see anything beyond their trauma and their victimhood. And men are too scared to say anything because the moment they do, they get shouted at or talked at or disrespected or worse, silent treatment. And I saw like that happening in my lineage with the culture I come from. It's very common for the woman to be more dominating, right? And the image that she portrays to society is that she's the victim. So like when you have somebody in your home and your family who loves to play victim, refuses to see a different perspective, that to me is an indicator that this person has a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. So it's not about better or worse or this or that or higher or lower or hierarchical anything. It's simply about, hey, I want to connect with human beings who are on my unique wavelength. And that's it. It's not more or less complicated than that. I am going to start fully expressing myself way more freely on the podcast because I never want to look back at it and be like, man, I wish I tried harder. You know what I mean? Like if you're an entrepreneur, like you get it. I just wish I tried a little harder to see what I was capable of. And like that question or that regret, it just like sits really heavy with me. So I know that like, okay, that's my purpose. If you're somebody who's on the path of like, hey, what's my purpose? I would ask myself to do a checks and balances system to see like, okay, what irritates me to the core of who I am. And that takes like time to like that self-discovery journey. And also it's not a linear path to your answer, because once you get there, then you have to learn how to like rev that energy back up into something greater than you, right? That's the energy work. That's the chakra alignment work. That is transcendence. And then you transform through that journey, not into somebody completely different than the person, the incredible human being that you are now, but literally like, I've had a glow up. Never talk about what I look like. How can I expect people to see me if I refuse to see myself? So I do a lot of mirror work. I do a lot of content. I do a lot of like putting myself out there and seeing like what happens. And that triggered a lot of people in my life. Like it triggers my husband, right? Like we just got back from this incredible, luxurious trip to Thailand and Vietnam. Stayed in the most incredible resorts. If you are not following me on Instagram, you have to, because I share my whole life there. And I enjoy doing that because for me, it's like I get to remember. I get to be like, wow, like what a beautiful life I've lived. I have married the man of my dreams. I have become the woman of my own dreams. And I have connected with human beings that have a heart of pure fucking gold. I'm so satisfied and I'm so fulfilled that like anything more is the cherry on top, not something I need in order to breathe. I do my breath work. I do my regulating practices. I stay grounded in my body. I do mirror work. I connect with people to have them reflect me back to me so that I know who I am from more than just one source, right? And that's why it's like we're all searching for God, but there's a million gods wanting to express themselves and like have this dance of life on this planet. When you become a channel for source consciousness to speak through your unique chakra system, which I believe is simply authentic expression. And my girls at Fully Expressed podcast and community are incredible women to help you on that journey to like figuring out who your authentic self truly is and having the courage to share that with the world, because the journey of content creation is sacred. I believe that because my Leo is in South Node. A lot of my clients are Leos who genuinely desire to be seen by people more than just their husband. And why should we be shamed for that? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Why shame somebody's authentic desire? Because like, what's it doing to you? What is it doing to your life? How is it affecting you in any way, shape, or form? If we're simply just allowing each other to live fully, freely, and in the best way we can, given the circumstances and the cards that we've been dealt. So the cards, right? Those are your victim stories. Those are the ones that you look at, like your tarot readings, and you're like, ooh, that I don't like that. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't believe in astrology because it told me something that I didn't enjoy to hear. I don't believe in numerology because I didn't believe in what it was saying on this day. You know what I mean? So your core values are more rooted, but everything else beyond that can be fluid. And when you allow yourself the freedom to like change your mind, be different, act a different way, dress different, color your hair, paint, dance, move your hips, sway your body, breathe. These somatic practices release the energy so your mind can get a fucking break. So you could just fucking rest. So you could just surrender all that into your heart and just fucking be. I love my podcast. You don't need a big production studio. You don't need, like, take the perfectionism out of it and just let yourself turn the camera on and see what comes out and see what flows without a script, without memorizing, and just express your gifts, like whatever that is, whether it's like a violin, a camera, Like, what is your artistic expression? It doesn't have to turn into a whole business. It doesn't have to turn into you quitting your job, but like, can you dedicate 1 hour a week to this? Because if you can do that, then you can start a hobby. Then the hobby can evolve into an actual something if you choose it. So a lot of people are so scared to start because they think that if I start, I don't know how it's going to end up and I don't know how it's going to unfold. And people tell me all the time that they didn't expect what they got. I am one of those people because I did not expect a New York Times article to cover my decision to live in my own apartment while being happily married to my husband, because New York apartments are too small to allow for two people to be whole individuals. And that resonated with a lot of people and in the consciousness communities. And dude, like, LA has been so healing for me. I'm so grateful for it because even though I became a typical LA stereotype who had a viral moment and moved to LA, put myself out there and see who I connect with, like, that to me is community. That to me is what you put in is what you get out. That is what I have for you today. I am really hoping for this shift that I feel internally and physically is going to show up in my life in greater ways. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I know the ebbs and flows of it. I know it's a cyclical path and journey. And my husband, to be honest, he doesn't, right? Like, he's not an entrepreneur, so he doesn't know the cyclical path to success. And I needed people to connect with who like got it. And I started my community growth club. When I was in New York during COVID, I knew that a lot of people were friends with their coworkers, and without friendship, like, everybody's going to become depressed. So I knew that friendship outside of your relationship with your husband is important for a really long time before I would even say I had any sort of awakening or awareness. It was innate in who I was as a human being, even before I started working. I just tried to dig as deep as I could to find my own gifts and then have the courage to do something, like create something that allows me to shine my gifts and get paid for them. And that just took some time. It's been 7 years. I have not made the same income as I used to when I worked in corporate America. I was making 6 figures as an HR executive at tech startups. I simply didn't want to cap out. And I knew that if I wasn't like a CEO or COO or chief level executive, I wouldn't be able to like have that income. And my husband is on that path. So I don't like tell him, hey, I'm choosing to leave corporate America, you should too. I say, hey, this is like what I see for me, but like, he's on the path of CFO and he is going to take companies to exits and he's going to get paid millions because he's going to have a ton of equity for doing these deals for companies. And that's his path to millionaire, right? So he doesn't need to show up on the internet. He actually prefers to be a very private dude. And I have to respect that, right? Because that's his boundary. So he lets me know back in Thailand on our trip, we were in the pool and it was amazing. He let me know in that moment, hey, can you not post this on social media? And it was like a video of us. I was latched onto him. We were in our infinity pool that was attached to our room in Thailand, in Phuket, overlooking the beach. It was the most beautiful place ever. And it was the most beautiful content ever. And I was so excited to be able to share it. And I activated that part of me, right? Where it's like, oh, rubbing up against my wild woman, my freedom, my expression. And it's like, okay, ask yourself, instead of reacting from your feminist conditioning, which is beautiful, can you also create enough space for a what if scenario that isn't so negative? That's what it means to start healing your mental health. Expanding your capacity for somebody else's existence and truth to coexist alongside yours. That's what it means to expand into union, where your inner masculine and your inner feminine create enough space in your nervous system for there to be a checks and balances system that allows you to stay fluid between, and then you get to dance in the nuance of life. And then life becomes a lot more colorful, a lot more fun, a lot more free, a lot more awesome, a lot more easier. And not to say that you become void of all problems. It's not that my problems have all gone away. It's that I know them so intimately now that every time the problem comes back around, I get to meet it at new edges and new places and new ways that past me didn't have the capacity for. So every time I go deeper, I get to rise higher. And I see that happen every time I break a pattern. I get blessed. Every time I ask myself, hey, like, is that the best way to handle this? I am creating space for my own integrity to rise above my ego. And that is how we heal the planet. Because then you make choices based on your authentic self, and your authentic self is love. It's the embodiment of love. It is caring for humanity. It is caring for the planet. It is caring. It is kind. And that's why you felt like you've never fit into this world, because you weren't built for the 3D reality. You were truly here for thriving on this new frequency that has turned online and become available for our generation. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you guys have a lot to ponder over. Hit subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps get my videos out. I've never said this. I don't try to promote it like this, but like I'm just like ready for my message to get out to whoever needs it. If you guys could help me get to a place where everybody on this planet is becoming slightly more aware so that they can begin the healing process and choose to come with us on this ride, share this video with them if you're comfortable with that, or simply share it on your stories. It helps so much to know who's tuning in, who's listening, who are my people, who's my community, because I'm a very community driven person, and that's why I love in person, and that's why I've avoided going all in on the digital space for as long as I have. But like, I want both now because I don't know what the future holds. It's really unstable, and like, I think it's just nice to have like different umbrellas under my empire that are all leading and building me back up to that income that I desire in order to live the life that I want to continue to live. Because it's not about, oh, you manifest your desires and you get it and then that's it. There's so much, right? So this is something I always tell my husband real quick before you go. It's a good one. I tell him, okay, when you get there, then what? And I ask him that all the time because I'd never want him to get to a place where there's only one dream and all your eggs are in that one basket, because it creates a lot of scarcity mindset when you come and approach things like that. So I just really, really love when I get to challenge him in that way. And we challenge each other all the time in such beautiful ways. And I love our relationship and I love our dynamic and I love being married. I have never been more free in my entire life. Even when I lived in my own apartment in New York City, I am more free today because I get to do it while being witnessed by another human being that I trust so deeply. Not more than I trust myself. I always trust myself first, and then I allow his perspective into my world. And then I do a checks and balances system, and he does the same. And I can just be myself without being scared. And he gets to be himself without being scared. And it's just a really lovely, lovely, lovely place to be. Okay, my loves, I will talk to you next time.